Before we get very far into our next story, we do have a warning for you tonight. What you're about to see and hear may not be suitable for children. Tonight, take a walk in their world.
Good evening, everyone, and we're here for the UnFuckIt discussion. We're here for the UnFuckIt discussion. It is March 28th, and the insanity is literally gotten so absolutely crazy right now. Epic proportions. Epic. Reading the news, and I'm just like, I can't even put together news shows right now because there's so much going on that trying to put together like a 5-minute news show is fucking impossible. It's impossible. Like you can't get it all out of all the shit that's going on. There is some interesting shit though. Politically, we're watching some really, really interesting shit play out. Between all the stuff with Russia, and of course you've got the UK and the Russia stuff. Well, oh, they poisoned our double agent. Seriously. Which has started this whole thing of like the UK is kicking out Russian diplomats, and then now everyone in Europe is kicking out Russia, and Australia, and apparently Canada is kicking out Russian diplomats. But there's some shit going on that's really interesting because in the background of all of this happening, we've got China just launched its petro-yuan dollar. Well, you can now buy oil using the Chinese yuan. No more petrodollar. And they're making a shit-kicking amount of money on it. Apparently, so in the first hour that they started the exchanges, they sold $40 million, something. It was an astronomical sum in the first hour of opening up this exchange. So you got this stuff with China, and China has put some subtle commentary out there to the fact of how much they support Russia with all this crap that's going on with the UK. And we have the incredible continuing shit show in the US of blame Russia. And even though none of it even makes sense anymore, like the stories have become so exaggerated that it doesn't even make logical sense when you go back to the original stories they've tried to sell to the public. Like they've just turned around and flipping on themselves. Now, yes, Kim Jong-un just went from North Korea, just went to China for the first time ever. First time. And of course, at first it was like, oh, well, we have the Chinese Foreign Relations Foreign Office was all like, well, we have no information on this at this time. Now, of course, 36 hours later, it's all public. There's pictures in the newspaper, the two of them, she and Kim Jong-un shaking hands and the whole bit. And the spin by the Western media has been interesting because the spin by the Western media is like, oh, well, you know what it is, you see, because North Korea is going to be meeting with Trump in May. And China's got their nose out of joint because they're like, you know, why are we not there? So they've called Kim Jong-un for a meeting to, you know, hey, but, you know, we want to be in on this. And it's like, the Western media is trying to play it off kind of like China is like the annoying little brother who just wants to hang around and is getting pissed off because he's being left out of the cool kid games. And it's like, wow, no, I can tell you right now, Kim Jong-un just went to China to find out from China exactly what he's supposed to do when he goes to meet with Trump. That's what all this is about. China's prepping them for all the meetings that are going on. So there's all this crap, and the Facebook stuff is taking an interesting turn. Now, I didn't get a chance to watch the whole live stream, and unfortunately, I have not had a chance to go sit down and actually do the research on it. But yesterday on RT.com, they were live streaming British Parliament talking to the whistleblower from, oh my God, the University of England, blah, blah, blah. The big university, starts with a C.
Cambridge.
Cambridge, thank you. From Cambridge University, talking about the sales and the spread of how much information Facebook sold and gave access to other corporations. Now, what I didn't realize is what I didn't realize with the UK, why the UK is literally going about this right now, because they've called Zuckerberg in. The British Parliament has called Zuckerberg and said, you need to come over here. We need to have a talk. And Zuckerberg refuses to go. He's sending some lackeys to go deal with the situation. It turns out that these corporations that Facebook sold all this information to, who were taking all the Facebook data, one of these corporations is a corporation that just appeared out of nowhere, literally appeared out of nowhere, and was being used by all the activist groups and lobbyist groups to push for Brexit. So I haven't had a chance to fully go in and research this, but now we've got a bigger door open, because now it looks like what is going on in the UK is they're discovering that Facebook sold all this data and put all this information out, and it was used by a group of groups to push certain internal lobbying in government. And now we got, this is the big shit now, because this is, again, we all know this, and that was the article I wrote the other day about it. We all know this shit. We all know that Facebook sells your social media soul to the highest bidder. And we all know that they have algorithms set up so that the trolls and these government stooges can go in and fill Facebook full of propaganda, and the algorithms are set up so that you don't get the shit that you actually want to see on your feed. Instead, you see all this government bullshit programming type stuff. So we've already known this, but now what's happening is this is now coming up publicly, not just publicly, but like I say, UK Parliament pulling them up in front and basically demanding that Zuckerberg show up to testify in front of the British Parliament as to what the hell? What were you doing? Now, on the surface, this is such a crock of shit. It's such a crock of shit. Because these guys in Parliament, they know this shit. They have to, at least, maybe not your lower down ministers, but the big boys in Parliament, they all know, because they're all part of it. You know, this is the whole thing. UK, America, Israel have all announced in the last 4 years that they've hired thousands of online cyber soldiers for psyops. And they've actually said this. They've hired these people to go online and spread all the disinformation and spread all the agenda shit. This has been fully outed by mainstream media. So, on the surface, we know all of this. But I'm sitting here now going, like, I keep asking the question, why now? What is going on that's making this happen and be so pushed to the front now? Is it because we've got a lot of interesting shit going on politically? So you have basically Venezuela launching their oil-backed cryptocurrency, China in their yuan trades for oil, so a full-on Xing out the petrodollar. We've got the shit with Russia going on. We've got a whole pile of stuff in the Middle East. Now, there's no attention going on to the Middle East stuff. And I mean, like, Erdogan in Turkey literally just threatened the American military forces in one particular town. Said basically, has totally threatened them, saying, in Iraq, and it's not even Syria this time, they're back to bombing shit in Iraq now. So Turkey has got running a war on two fronts, in Iraq, in Syria. No one's fucking talking about it. The other interesting thing just came out today on RT, that apparently the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia just said that it was the West who forced Saudi Arabia to push Wahhabism after the Cold War. And that is, again, I mean, we've been talking about this for ages. We've been talking about the fact for ages that the whole Wahhabism thing is a setup. It was set up by MI6. It's been pushed by the CIA, all the Western guys, because they need extremists to fight, right? They have to have extremists. But apparently the Crown Prince himself has just said, yeah, we spread Wahhabism because the West told us to. We're talking about like massive piece of transparency, like holy shit transparency. So yeah, there is some interesting shit going on right now, folks. Yeah, a lot of, Stephanie, there's a lot of loose lips lately. Whistleblowers are coming out of the woodwork, and some of them are stuff that's being said publicly by government officials. Just fucking put it here. We'll just put this out right out here for you. Yeah. So that's all I wanted to talk about the news. The news is fucking insane. The news is fucking crazy insane right now. And I keep going. I've sat down several times to do news shows and just gone, like, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to stop. Like, it's that ridiculously convoluted at the moment. Oh, it goes back to the before World War I. Fred, goes back to before World War I. The whole thing with Wahhabism and all that stuff? Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's some interesting pieces coming out, and more of the interesting pieces, like, I won't say mainstream media, but less alternative, more slightly mainstream media outlets talking about George Soros and talking about how he's funded this and he's funded that, and they're really pushing it all out about this information. So there's a lot of transparency coming out right now. And I do think that a lot of the stuff that, I mean, obviously the whole thing, that Parkland, Florida false flag attack, was set up to be a major media blitz distraction, because they've just kept that running and running and running. And I've gotten to the point of thinking, I don't think that these guys even care if everyone goes around screaming, that guy's a crisis actor. He's a fucking crisis actor. Look at, here's his high school picture from California, blah, 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 blah. They don't care, just as long as you keep talking about it. Because if they can keep everybody talking about that one thing, like hundreds of thousands march on DC, a bunch of teenagers are demanding that the adults put down their guns. Really? Really? And people are fucking falling for it. Like, wait, these are the kids that you think are not responsible enough to even be allowed to have a beer until they're 21? But you're going to let them dictate to you gun control laws that they can't possibly fathom or understand? I mean, like, no hope? But it's all a big fucking show. It is a huge show. And I think some of that is literally because there's so much shit happening right now that they have to keep everyone as distracted as possible. Like, distracted as possible. The lies aren't washing anymore. The lies are not washing. And it's interesting. I had a conversation with Brianna earlier today. Because some of these so-called alternative media people are starting to out themselves. And I mean, out themselves in a really, really big way. Now, one of the big ones she was talking about to me earlier was, of course, Suspicious Observers did a quick report about the orange snow in Russia and Ukraine and Romania. And it was like, yeah, it happens. It's normal. It's totally normal. And really, like, brushed it off as like it was a non thing to worry about. Now, if you guys haven't seen the pictures, there was orange, and I don't mean like the dog peed on the snow and it's a little yellow. No, I mean the snow was fucking screaming orange, and there's a picture of a ski hill in Romania that looks like the sand dunes in the Sahara. That's how fucking orange the snow is. Now, we've been hit here, so if you can imagine the path from the Sahara comes up from the Med, for 2 weeks we've been getting just slammed with sandstorms here in the Med, in Malta, and in Sicily, and in Lower Italy. Like, I mean, you just don't even bother trying to wash your car. Like, just yeah, don't even bother. Yeah, or a black one. But now we have this sand, and it's not sand. You don't think of it as sand. It's like the finest powder. It literally is like talc. It's such a fine powder, blowing up as far north as Russia and Ukraine and Romania. This is not normal. This shit don't happen. It does not happen in these areas.
Danny, this is Gina. Real briefly, it tested positive for magnesium oxide, which is not in sand, obviously. So that blew that.
Darlin, I have no idea because I haven't read any of the scientific tests. Like, I haven't read any of the way they've looked at some of this stuff. But when these alternative talking heads are saying things, oh yeah, it's totally normal. Yeah, it's not normal. And and Fred over there in Romania, she can tell you, orange snow in Romania doesn't happen ever. So when we have these guys brushing off some of this stuff and trying to spin doctor, I mean, we have certain sites that we know are just paid disinfo, bullshit sites. But some of the ones that people didn't suspect are starting to show. And I mean, really, really starting to show now. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of, yeah, come see our orange ski slopes. Right. Hey, Bree, they could turn it into an advertising campaign. You could go like sand skiing and snow skiing at the same time. Maybe that's what happened to Trump's face. He got like all that orange snow on him. I don't know. It's a thought. Anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about as far as the political stuff goes. Like, that was just like, I mean, I literally brought some of the most barest, tiniest little points to the table. That's just, yeah. There's some interesting shit going on in cryptocurrencies. There's some interesting pieces of information, again, that have gone public with this shit to show just how the quintessential they, are manipulating the cryptocurrencies to keep the price down at the moment. It's going to be interesting next month. That's all I have to say. I have a feeling next month it's going to be real fucking interesting when it comes to cryptocurrencies. It's going to be interesting. Oh, yeah, well, exactly, John. The reports of there's kiddie porn on the blockchain. And who do you think put it there? I'll give you 3 guesses. You're only going to need one. It's obviously the people who are trying to take it down and trying to deface it, right? So these are little things, right? These are the little pieces we watch, but it's becoming so transparent that you can see the ploys. It's like some of these guys, as soon as they start opening their mouth and start talking, you already know where they're going. You already know why they're saying the shit that they're saying. It's interesting. Like I said, I have a feeling April is going to be a very, very interesting month when it comes to certain things. So anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about on that, all that fucking shit. So if you guys want to turn on your cameras and come out, we'll just sit back and chit chat and shoot the shit now.